Mr. Chair, members of the House Capital Investment Committee, thank you for hearing your hearing of the House File 4282 for Northern Lights Special Education Academy Cooperative and Area Special Education Cooperative. The work that these two cooperative schools do spans many legislative districts, which is why I'm proud to have Representative Skraba, Zaleskar, Lisselgard, Burkle, and Keel as co-authors on this bill. Colleagues, our state constitution says that it's the duty of legislation to establish a general and uniform system of public schools, and that the legislature shall make such provisions by taxation or otherwise to secure a thorough and effective system of public schools throughout the state. There's no doubt that as a legislative, we fund education. Pretty obvious. We also give school districts around the state options of generating revenue through construction projects and operating expenses. There are districts, though, that slip through the cracks, and that's what I'm discussing today. These two special education cooperatives, their member school districts, do not have the same tool to create and raise revenues to build or upgrade facilities. They need our help today, folks. These are unique situations. These schools care and educate the students with the highest needs. Currently, these educators are doing what they have to do, some with no facility whatsoever. Some are doing it from home. Or in the case of Northern Lights Special Academy, they are working in an old and antiquated building. With me today for a brief summary is Barb Mackey from Northern Lights and Tiffany Littman from Area Special Education Cooperative.
Welcome, directors. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Lee and members of the committee. Thank you, Representative Dot Smith, for championing this bill, this bipartisan bill, alongside Representatives Skarba, Zalesnikar, Burkle, Keel, and Liz Lagarde. We are honored to address you today regarding the critical needs of special education students in Minnesota. My name is Tiffany Littman, Executive Director of the Area Special Education Cooperative, and I am joined by Barb Mackey, Assistant Director of Special Education at Northern Lights Academy. Together, we represent the voices of students spanning a vast area of northern Minnesota. Northern Lights Academy is located in northeastern Minnesota, serves students with severe disabilities across 6,000 square miles spanning 12 districts, as well as serving Indigenous students from Fond du Lac and Mille Lacs bands. Currently, the students are split between two inadequate locations, hindering their educational experience. House File 4282 seeks $6 million in bonding to purchase or construct a facility tailored to students' needs. This investment would consolidate these two programs under one roof, providing a safe and conducive learning environment, which is most cost efficient. Despite efforts of Northern Lights Academy, many students still wait proper accommodations due to the space limitations, hampering their educational opportunities. Similarly, the Area Special Education Cooperative serves students with diverse needs within 11 member districts covering 3,300 square miles in northwest Minnesota. House File 4282 seeks to construct or renovate a Level 4 facility to address a critical gap in services for students with high needs. Currently, the nearest facility is 100 miles away, leaving students with limited options and potentially forcing them on home-based learning, placing significant burdens on families. Furthermore, students with significant behavior challenges within school settings can detrimentally impact the learning environment for all students. Many students face challenges in traditional school environments, impacting their ability to learn effectively. We wish to highlight a particular success story. A student, formerly considered unable to thrive due to aggressive and disruptive behaviors, was enrolled at Northern Lights Academy. Despite initial concerns from parents that their child was bound to fail, the student has flourished and is successfully transitioning back to their resident district, on track to graduate and even obtain their driver's permit. This student's journey illustrates the transformational impact of personalized education for students with diverse needs. We understand the financial constraints faced by our member districts and the unique nature of our situation. While our member districts are poised to access funds through the cooperative facilities lease levy authority granted by legislation last May, it would only total $2.9 million, and additional assistance is crucial to project success. We acknowledge that school districts generally do not receive funds for facilities projects, but we both find ourselves in exceptional circumstances. We are aware that similar projects have been funded across the state by bonding bills and large company grants. State assistance is imperative to bridge this gap and ensure equitable access to education for all students, regardless of their geographic location and level of need. Members of the committee, we appeal to you today for your support of House File 4282 so that our highest need students in rural Minnesota have an equal right to quality public education within a safe and supportive environment. This funding will enable us to create transformative schools that meet the complex needs of our students while fostering their growth and well-being. Thank you for your attention and consideration today.
Thank you, Director. Director, are you going to speak too? If you do, then if you can limit your remarks to a couple minutes.
Actually, I can answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Representative Scriba.
You anticipated my question. Very good. Thank you, Chair Lee, Representative, members. I've toured this facility, and we as people, the work that these folks do and the work, it's not just in northern Minnesota, it's all of Minnesota. It's in the metro, it's everywhere. These are the vulnerable students. These are the ones that have a hard time just acclimating with society. And they get a group of them, a bunch of them. And now we're saying, oh, we don't have anywhere for you. They're in a, if I can say it, even dilapidated school where they're doing this out of. And they're running, how many buckets this year? And anyway, you tell me later. But they have buckets running around trying to keep this building going. And it's the least, in my opinion, it's the least we can do to help these folks. These are the kids, no fault of their own, with the mental health issues. Some are severe, some aren't severe. Some are apparently severe, but not as, they can be acclimated. So it's, they're in a position that they're drawing students from Two Harbors, Minnesota, down south of Duluth. This is how far they're going. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm happy. I'm sad that they have to travel that far, but I just want somewhere for them to go. And on both of these, there's two asks here, the front side and the back side. And I support both of them. And I just wanted to let you know that what I saw, not so much a question. I'll let someone else ask them questions. I just think it's time that we help the students. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Scriba. Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Representative Dotseth and testifiers. First, help me out just a little bit. Maybe I missed this somewhere. Where is Northern Lights Academy?
Director.
Hi, thank you for the question. Northern Lights Academy actually is in two different buildings. One of them is in Cloquet, and the other is in Carlton. And granted, they're only 5 miles apart, but when I have a crisis situation in one of those buildings and I'm in the other, it takes me about 10 minutes to get there. So I can tell you that yesterday we had a crisis in one building and I happened to be in the other, and it took a while for us to get there and have that student be successful.
Director, can you identify yourself for the record real quick?
I'm sorry, I'm Barb Mackey, the Assistant Special Ed Director for Northern Lights Academy.
Thank you. Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just so I understand the number of students here, it says 2,400 students across the member districts. So that's in a widespread area. In your facility, how many students are there?
Director Mackey.
So currently, there's 50 in ours, but we also have a waiting list of many students that cannot get in because I don't have enough space. and actually at the area special education cooperative, they don't have a facility like ours. And so their students are either at home getting very limited instruction, it's called home-based services, or they're attempting to keep them in their regular school buildings. The problem is that that disrupts the learning for everyone within their buildings usually, because our students are the ones that have those major disruptions where classes might have to be cleared so that everybody's safe, or they might be yelling down the hall those words that you wouldn't want anyone to hear, which would disrupt their learning.
Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And now, I might be familiar with this type of setting. We have in my district the town of Cosmos, and they serve those special education students who are severely challenged. And I mean, basically throwing chairs through windows and those types of things. And I was author of the bill to renovate the Cosmos School for this type of use. And is that the type of students that you are dealing with?
Director Mackey.
Yes, it is. So our students do currently throw chairs, and sometimes through windows or sometimes across rooms. Our staff have to have a large amount of professional development so that they know how to provide as safe a space as possible. Unfortunately, the space we have now is not set up for those particular children, and so it isn't as safe as we can make it. And that's part of the problem. We need a better space that is set up exactly for them, that doesn't have all of the things that might get used.
Representative Erdahl.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that explanation. That I think certainly makes more clear to me the needs you have, and should to other members as well. I mean, in Cosmos, they had to move the electrical outlets and all of these things, and so with that in mind, you know, I certainly hope that we can help you out.
Thank you, Representative Erdahl. Closing comments, Representative Dotson.
Thank you. In closing, Chair Lee, I want to thank you for the hearing today, for this bill, and these testifiers. This is important work that they do, and the facilities are much needed. Thank you again for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. And members, I do want to acknowledge former Representative Sundin, who's here joining us, who is working on this issue too.